Okay, thanks for being here. This has been a fantastic World Congress, and I'm glad to be part of it. Thank you all for coming. My name is Luke Morris. I'm a surgeon and a cancer researcher at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. And actually, I like the title in the program much better, which is something like, why is there so much thyroid cancer? So I'm going to try to answer that in this talk. And also answer the question, do all thyroid cancers need to be treated based on our understanding of the epidemiology of thyroid cancer? Okay, so this story goes back to colonial India, okay? So the British colonial administrators in India recognized that there was a problem, which was that there were too many snakes on the streets of Delhi. And so their solution was to offer a reward for every cobra head that was brought in to the colonial government offices. So for every cobra head you brought in, you got some money. And now that cobra heads had been incentivized, you can imagine that the enterprising citizens of Delhi back at this time responded to the incentive by finding as many cobras as they could, and by going a step further and generating as many cobras as they could by farming cobras and generating proliferation of cobra farms across the town. So there were actually more cobras at the end of this program than there were at the beginning. So this is an example of unintended consequences of how, when you incentivize the identification of something, you can sometimes inadvertently lead to the creation of more of it. And what I think is happening around the world with papillary thyroid cancer is that the incentive to find it, and it need not be a financial incentive. In fact, I think doctors, we respond to something that is far stronger than money oftentimes. The crack cocaine for us as physicians is the desire to be a good doctor and to do something significant that helps your patient. The good doctor is the one who finds what's wrong with your patient who has a sore throat or who has weight gain or hair loss. Well, you got to work up the thyroid and find out what's going on. Well, there was a poet named Drake who said, "We started from the bottom, now we're here." This applies to thyroid cancer with an incidence in the United States and around the world, which has been rising. We're going to talk about the data from around the world in this talk, explain what this word overdiagnosis means, because it has a specific meaning, talk about whether thyroid cancer is being overdiagnosed, and answer whether all thyroid cancers need to be treated. So this is the story of thyroid cancer in the US. You're going to see this is mirrored in some way around the world, more or less in some places. And this rising incidence that many of us are seeing and dealing with is driven by papillary thyroid cancer. And interestingly, during this time, the number of people who die in the United States and in essentially every country in the world is rock stable at that red line. 0.5 per 100,000 population dies of thyroid cancer every year. Most of the increase is attributable to small thyroid cancers that are less than 2 centimeters below the size that makes them reliably palpable. So these are clinically occult thyroid cancers. So the question that you might pose is, why is only one of these lines going up? Why is the incidence line going up and the mortality line not going up? Now, one explanation you could come up with, it seems very reasonable, is that there's actually more out there. There's something in the water or in the upholstery or too many airplane flights, too many CAT scans, too much radiation, and there's more thyroid cancer. But we're getting better at treating it, and that's why this line doesn't go up. Now, of course, for that mortality line to not go up, we have to be getting better at treating thyroid cancer at the exact rate that it went up last year. And so if we didn't get better at treating thyroid cancer fast enough, mortality would start to creep up. Or if we started getting better at treating thyroid cancer faster than it went up, then the mortality line would dip. But it's rock stable. It's 0.5 per 100,000 every country in the world. Why is that? Well, this does not seem to be the most simple explanation or likely explanation. Another possibility is that we're detecting subclinical disease that was always there. Actually, there are this many